Hey guys, today I'll be playing HIKEBAck, which is a game about trust, self-sabotage, and never-ending cycles. Let me tell you a story. It was late that night. I was driving through some backwoods to visit a friend. Then I spotted something on the side of the road. That's when I first saw you, sticking your thumb out, looking for a lift. So I decided to stop and help you out. That night was so dark that I could barely see your face, but I managed to catch a glimpse of you through my faded headlights. Your front was smeared with dirt and grime, and your hair stuck out in every direction. You asked me for a ride to the next town over, and I said yes. I watched you climb into the back seat. We rode together in silence for miles. There was no radio signal out here, so music wasn't much of an option. I could barely hear you breathing. Sometimes I forgot you were there at all. I could feel myself starting to nod off. The dust in the headlights swam in lazy streams. And just as I started to drift away, oh God, something pierced through my stomach. Your arms were around my waist from below the seat, your fingers clutching a bloody scalpel. My throat closed up, my mind went blank. My senses screaming, I lost control of the wheel. How do people pick up hitchhikers? How safe do you feel? My head was pounding. Needless prickled across my skin, cut with shattered bone and sharp nail. Every breath I took was harder than the last. There was no one else in these woods. There was no one around to help. I was going to die here. Next to me, I could see you coughing up blood. Your arms were embedded with broken glass. I asked you why you did it. There was no point, after all. Now, we were both going to die, with no one around to find our bodies. You gave me a weary smile as my vision faded to black. You spoke with a voice like gravel and serrated teeth. You told me that you couldn't help it. It was in your nature. And one nature. The heck? That was an ending? Okay. That was ending 1. There's 18 endings in total, so that's a lot. Let me tell you a story. My name's not important. Never liked it much anyway. I was driving that night to visit a friend on the other side of the mountains. I never met them in person before, but they needed my help. That was all that mattered. Dude, what? This place really was out in the middle of nowhere, though. Not a sign of civilization to be seen. I was messing around with the radio when I saw you. A scrawny thing in dirty clothes sticking your thumb out. So I decided to stop. What the hell, I feel bad for you. Maybe you really did need help. I didn't think I could have lived with myself if I would abandon someone in a bad spot. So I flashed my headlights and pulled over beside you. As soon as I got out of the car, I could tell I made the right call. You looked like shit. The knees of your pants were all scuffed and your whole body was smudged with dirt. You needed help, badly. Hey, you alright? Where are you headed? You looked at me with a blank stare, as if I was saying nothing but meaningless noise. I sighed and took a step forward. You eyed me warily. Look, you need a ride, right? If I'm taking you somewhere, then can you at least give me a direction? You seemed to consider this for a while. You ran your fingernails up and down your arm as if you were scratching at something. After a bit, you finally looked me in the eyes. Is there a town nearby? I could tell just by listening to you that you desperately needed a drink. Fortunately, I didn't think the half-empty soda sitting in my cup holder would cut it. Nearby, not for a while yet. But there should be a gas station at the next exit, about a 20-minute drive or so. You chewed your lip in silence. Do you want me to take you there? You nodded, slowly. Please? So I stepped back towards the car and opened the door to the let's do passenger side, because that's gonna be good. To the passenger side. You seem harmless enough, and there is no point in being rude. You didn't move. Everything okay? Still nothing. I figured you were just nervous. I didn't blame you. It was a pretty weird situation. Then noticed you were mumbling something under your breath. Not the... Hey, no worries if it's too much, okay? If you want, I can always call a police station nearby. Oh, no. Suspicious. A refusal so quick I had to take a second to even register it. You sure? Must have struck a nerve. Without another word, you brushed past me and slid inside. I tried to give you a shoulder resting pat as you got in, as reassuring as I can manage anyway. You almost hit your head on the roof when my hand made contact. I don't know why you've even touching someone like that. You don't even know this person. Why are you doing this? Hey. What? Seatbelt? And no response. I glanced over my shoulder and pointed at the seatbelt, at the belt buckle. Put it on. I'm not moving this car until you do. He blinked at me slowly before pulling on the seatbelt. You examined it like it was a foreign object as you crossed it over your waist and hooked it into the buckle. With a sigh, I turned back towards the wheel and started up the engine. The radio still wasn't working. It was really starting to piss me off. I guess there wasn't much signal that far out. And all the while, you hardly made a noise. It was like you weren't even there. But you were. I checked. Quiet as a corpse with your cheek pressed against the window. We drove for miles, endless stretches of the same road, the same trees, the same dark expanse. For all we knew, we could have been driving it in place. Things started getting blurry. My eyelids were heavy from the weight of all the hours on the road. I didn't want to risk falling asleep at the wheel, so I went ahead and downed the last of my energy drink. It was long since flat. The sugar and gunk and artificial flavors all stuck to my teeth. Gross. I needed something more substantial to keep me awake. Music would have been fine, but the radio still refused to cooperate. What to do? Oh, right. As I heard you shuffling around in your seat, I realized that some friendly conversation would definitely keep me up. I hardly knew anything about you after all. Oh my god. What? You were just a total stranger. No harm in breaking the ice, right? So I glanced over towards you and spoke. How? Already, we died again? I managed to see your scalpel seconds before it went straight through my eye. The next thing I knew, we were both crashing through the windshield. So we got stabbed in the eye this time. That's still just as bad. A tree? Or was it a boulder, maybe? I couldn't tell. As soon as my vision went red, the wheel slipped out of my fingers and we crashed straight into something. My head was pounding. The muck that was left of my eye leaked down my chin. The only thing that kept me from passing out was the pain. Needles pricked across my skin, cut with shattered bone and sharp nail. Every breath I took was harder than the last. There was no one else in the woods. There was no one around to help. I was going to die here. Next to me, I heard you yelp in pain. Through the blood, I saw your leg twisted in ways it never should be. Now, why would you do that? He was the one driving. Why would you stab him? This was the end for the both of us. But instead of screaming, crying, begging for my life, all I could feel was anger. My mouth started moving before my thoughts could. What the hell is wrong with you? Every word tasted like iron. Because of this? Because of you. Now we're both dead. Even with my sight melting away, I felt your eyes boring into me. Is this what you wanted? Your head lolled to the side as you choked and gasped, wiping your mouth on your arm. The veins in your neck bulged. I could see them clearly now. I wanted to wrap my hands around your throat and squeeze more than I wanted anything else in my entire life. No. Then, why? I pounced on your response like a rabid animal. I had to know. I deserved to. I heard your nails scrape across the gravel, hair curtaining your face. Who? What? You cleared your throat and tried again. Your voice was thick with blood. Whose fault is this? Answer me. Whose fault? Who is to blame for this ending? Oh. The one to blame is... I was to blame you. I wasn't the one who stabbed him. You, obviously. You stabbed me in the freaking eye. What possible... I've gotten too heated. I had to take a second to wheeze, feeling my lungs sting. What possible reason could you have had? None. I stopped in my tracks, mouth hung open like a dead fish. What? There was no reason. No reason at all. Because it was not a reasonable thing to do. Somehow it felt like you were speaking much clearer all of a sudden, and I saw movement in your direction. Were you standing up? I did because I am a bad person. That is all there is to it. I couldn't keep the eye I had left open any longer, even as my mind raced. I felt someone, you, right next to me, a creeping heat that sent goosebumps running up my neck. Because for people like me, I heard a smile in your voice. It's in my nature. And one, nature. You just never learn, do you? What the hell? I can't save. So I just have to keep starting. That's weird. Are we gonna ever get to where our friend is again? Let me tell you a story. My name's not important. Never liked it much anyway. I was driving that night to visit a friend on the other side of the mountains. Never met them in person before, but they needed my help. That was all that mattered. This place really was out in the middle of nowhere, though. Not a sign of civilization to be seen. My windshield had gotten cracked somehow. No clue how that happened. So we're just stuck. Really are stuck in an endless loop. It was no big deal. The car had already seen much better days, and one little crack couldn't do any more harm. Even though I didn't remember having it. I was messing around with the radio when I saw you. A scrawny thing in dirty clothes, sticking your thumb out. So I kept driving. So I kept right on driving. Like hell was I foolish for that. I'm so glad you actually made a smarter choice. A stranger out here in the middle of nowhere asking for a lift? Are you kidding me? Call me superstitious, but that sounded like the beginning of a ghost story. And I sure wasn't planning on dying anytime soon. I still felt your eyes on me as I sped past you, all the way down the road. I never saw you again. And 5, finally, common sense. Because who does that? Honestly, if I saw someone bleeding on the side of the road, I would feel so guilty if I don't pick them up. But, like, you don't know, like, who that person is and what they'll actually do to you. So, like, what are you supposed to do? Not like that. Let me tell you a story. My name's not important, never liked it much anyway. I didn't remember having it. I was messing around with the radio when I saw you, a scrawny thing in dirty clothes, sticking your thumb out. So I decided to stop. What the hell, you know? I feel bad for you, maybe you really needed the help. I don't think I could have lived with myself if I abandoned someone in a bad spot. So I flashed my headlights and pulled over beside you. As soon as I got out of the car, I could tell I made the right call. You looked like shit. The knees of your pants were all scuffed. Your whole body was smushed with dirt. You needed help. Badly. blank stare as if saying nothing but meaningless noise. Alrighty. Let's choose the back seat this time. So I open the door to the back seat, better safe than sorry. You stare at me for only a moment before climbing inside. Hey. What? Seatbelt? And no response. Yeah, I did not want to wear a seatbelt. It made it safer to put on a seatbelt. You rolled your eyes as you tugged on the seatbelt, as if we had this conversation before. With a sigh, I turned back towards the wheel and started up the engine. The radio still wasn't working. It was really starting to piss me off. I guess there wasn't much of a signal that far out. And all the while, you hardly made a noise. It was like you weren't even there. We drove for miles, endless stretches of the same road, the same trees, the same dark expanse. For all we knew, we could have been driving in place. Things started to get blurry. My eyelids were heavy from the weight of all the hours on the road. I didn't want to risk falling asleep. Huh? The can was completely empty. Weird. I've been so sure that I still had some left. When did I drink it? Had I forgotten somehow? I tried to shake the weird sense of deja vu from my head and kept my eyes on the road. Still nothing from the back seat. I adjusted my rear view so I can get a look at what you were up to. I could barely see a thing. Isn't there a light in your car? How long ago is this? My throat closed up. What had I been thinking letting you into my car? I had no idea who you were, what you wanted, or what you were capable of. You just think about it now. For all I knew, you'd be hiding my body in a highway ditch somewhere by the morning. Just a total stranger. How far were we to somewhere safe? If something happened, would anyone come to help? And as these thoughts swarmed my head, I heard you moving around in the back seat. My chest felt tight as panic surged inside me. I swore that I could feel your breath on my neck. Were you about to kill me? I had to do something. So I spoke up. My mouth suddenly felt very dry. With a deep breath, I spoke. What do you think you're doing? And almost as soon as the words left my mouth. Oh. Your arms wrapped around my chest from behind, and something cold and sharp pressed against my neck. I am merely taking precautionary measures. I gripped the steering wheel like it was my last chance. Blood roared in my head. One flinch, one speed bump. That's all it would take for this stranger to slit my throat. As I swallowed, my skin sank a bit deeper into the blade. How so? Simple. You could stop this car and kill me at any time, or drop me off somewhere to rot in captivity. Man, you didn't have to get in a car. If you so wished, you could even crash this car and watch me burn, safe behind an airbag. Now, it didn't seem like the best time to mention that I took the airbags out of this thing years ago. But this way, you cannot kill me without killing yourself, and in turn, I cannot kill you without killing myself either. This one's very paranoid. Thus, we are even. Does that make sense? You waited for an answer. You know what? You might have a point. I racked my brain for any good answers and I came up empty. I couldn't really argue with that, now could I? I sighed, trying not to think about how close I was to dying at any moment as I drove. I admit it, you do have a point there, but, what happens when we make it to the gas station? You know, what's keeping you from killing me as soon as I stop the car? You have to. I have no reason to. All I need is the ride. Sure, I guess. But why should I believe that? You're already threatened to kill me and all. You would just have to trust me. Trust you, huh? Well, we're strangers, gal. I don't know a thing about you. Trusting you is a pretty big ask. So, can I really afford to do that? If I stop this car, I'd be throwing away the only leverage I have against you right now. Then, by the same logic, if I take away this leg, I would be making the same foolish mistake. We sat there in silence. I guess we're at a standstill then, aren't we? Your fingernails dug into my shoulder, the scalpel nicking at my skin. I suppose we are. Oh, so they end up being at a standstill. So you're just gonna stay like that forever? Oh, whatever. It hurts. Oop. Man, that screen always scares me. Okay, let's say that his logic makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Couldn't help it, my temper flared. Like hell that makes sense. What the hell are you even talking about? Why would I do something like that right after stopping to help you out? Not to mention risk getting myself killed. I was just trying to show you a bit of kindness, that's all. I took a second to catch my breath. I wasn't even sure where that all came out from. You were waiting patiently for me to finish. After a few moments, you spoke up again. Kindness, you say. Yeah, heard of it? You even ever considered that maybe, just maybe, all I wanted to do was be nice? And a fat lot of good that did me, now you're threatening to kill me for it. I felt your fingers wrap around my shoulder in a steady rhythm. He took a while to respond this time. Will he let us go? We are strangers, are we not? Just as you had once told me, strangers who have absolutely no reason to trust each other. Such is why you led me to the seat rather than the one beside you. You did not trust me enough to be close to you. It was a wise decision. I would have done the same. And yet, despite being a total strangers, you offered to drive me out of the forest. Now, why might that be? You had no way of knowing that I possessed a blade, no indication that I could possibly be a threat to you. For all that you could tell, I was completely and utterly defenseless. And even now, I cannot hope to kill you without killing myself as well. You leaned forward, your lips ghosted right against my ear. From the very beginning, I have been at your mercy. Now, is this what you call kindness? Well, you didn't have to get in the car, man. I couldn't bring myself to speak. You clicked your tongue. Well then, if so, then you're just as bad as I am, aren't you? Ending 3, KINSHIP. I don't know, I'm not really getting this guy. Like, he's just being so mean for no reason. Okay, so I hit the brakes. I couldn't take it anymore. I needed you out of my car now. Without hesitation or warning, I veered off the side of the road and hit the brakes. Except, I didn't catch the tree in time, so we still crashed. My legs weren't moving. My arms weren't either. My body didn't do anything that told it to. Like in a dream or a nightmare. My head was pounding. All I could do was breathe, and that was getting harder by the second. It hurt, but eventually the pain all blended together like white noise, dull, comforting. Needles prickled against my skin, cut with shattered bone and sharp nail. There was no one else in these woods. There was no one around to help. I was going to die here. I managed to turn my head to the side just enough to see you lying in a crumpled heap. You were face down, blood pooling out from under your head. You weren't moving. This was the end for both of us, so I closed my eyes. You're going to kill me anyway. I just knew it somehow. A random stranger out in the middle of nowhere, all filthy, acting weird, and asking for a ride. Well, you're the one who stopped your car and asked for a ride, so, but whatever. Of course you had to be the killer, or some kind of bad person, at least. Anyone else would have done the same. This was the only way things could have ended. I did what I had to do in self-defense. Yeah, that was it. Self-defense. My vest shook. I did what I had to do. Right? Ending 2, self-defense. Okay, so I'm going to stop. And I'm gonna put him in the passenger seat again. I mean, it would make sort of sense to like have him seated next to me. I mean, it's not a sign of trust. You just keep an eye out on someone that way, right? Okay. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Passenger side. You seem harmless enough. There was no point in being rude. You didn't move. Everything okay? Still nothing? Not the back seat. You really wanted to be sitting in the back seat, huh? I don't know why you would touch your shoulder. I don't get it. And the seatbelt again. Why didn't this guy want to put on a seatbelt? Like, it's not that difficult. The radio still wasn't working. It was really starting to piss me off. The can was completely empty. Weird. I was so sure that I had some left. When did I drink it? Had I forgotten somehow? Tried to shake the weird sense of deja vu from my head and keep my eyes on the road. Caught you staring at me out of the corner of my eye, but as soon as I noticed, you turned back towards the window. I needed something more substantial to keep me awake. Music would have been fine, but the radio still refused to cooperate. What to do? He's getting something out of his bag again. Oh, right. As I heard you shuffling around in your seat, I realized that some friendly conversation could definitely keep me up. I hardly knew anything about you, after all. You were just a total stranger. No harm in breaking the ice, right? So I glanced over towards you and spoke. Oh god, we got stuck. I managed to see your scalpel seconds before it ran straight through my eye. We both crashed into the windshield. A tree. Or was it a boulder? Maybe. I couldn't tell. As soon as my vision went red, the wheel slipped out of my fingers and we crashed straight into something. My head was pounding. The mud that was left in my eye licked down my chin. What the hell? I was going to die here. God, car crashes are like the absolute worst. Okay, right. This time we'll answer, instead of saying the person you was their fault, we'll say it was my fault. Even though it was their fault, because there was really no need to stop him. We'll say, it's me. I'm the one to blame for this ending. Clarity struck me then, almost as quickly as the anger had. Oh, yeah, it is like this character. Because you're the one who stopped and picked them up. Like, what? As ridiculous as it sounded, as much as I barely believed in myself. Me? Pardon? You sounded just as surprised as I felt. But the longer I thought about it, the more it made sense. If I hadn't stopped, if I hadn't picked you up or even given you a lift, then this wouldn't have happened. Something squeezed down on my chest. I couldn't tell if it was from the impact or something else. How did you figure? Somehow it felt like you were speaking much clearer all of a sudden, but I didn't dwell on it for too long. I should have known better. Don't trust strangers and all that, right? I wanted to laugh, but it hurt too much to even try. So I should have known better. Someone like you. How else could this have ended? All that frustration, all that blind anger and desperation and bitterness that I had felt. All I could feel now was regret. Regret that it had to end this way. I didn't realize how much time had passed until you spoke again. It's not your fault. No? What? I craned my neck as best as I could to catch a glimpse of you out of the eye I had left. It looked like movement from where you had been, like you were standing up or something. But that was impossible, right? You couldn't help it. You spoke so softly, as if you were trying to comfort me. Something pressed against my hair, something warm, like someone was petting my head. You sighed. You just couldn't help it. Because it's in your nature. Bitterness. But is the stranger that we picked up, is he even human? Okay, we got ending 6, which is bitterness. Alrighty, it is now 7 o'clock. So how these endings work is it correlates to the time what I found from, which is kind of cool, I think. So it's 7 o'clock, so the other endings have unlocked now. This time what will be different? Now the one to blame is the both of us. For some reason, I remembered something that hadn't happened yet. Or was it something that was never meant to happen at all? My head spun. The answer that left my mouth wasn't the one either of us had been expecting. We're both to blame. I beg your pardon. You were so offended. You sounded so off guard, like you had forgotten that you were supposed to be in pain. Like this was all just some big play. And I said something that wasn't in the script. I couldn't even remember why I had been angry in the first place. I was the one who stopped. I was the one who created this whole situation. And you escalated things. Got us to this point. Even if I was the one that crashed the car, even if you were the one that tried to kill me, without both of our actions combined, we wouldn't be here. Couldn't tell how much sense that all made. I was losing too much blood too quickly. All I could feel was this overwhelming desire to rest. Rest until it all didn't hurt so much anymore. My good eye closed while the other fluttered and stung. I heard you moving, I think. Moving like you were standing up. But for some reason, I didn't find that strange at all. Like I seen you do it before. And that's when I heard you. You were laughing like you've never done it before. Laughing in this way, and that sound way more like an imitation than the real thing. All along, you wheezed and hiccup and cough. Dang, this guy's really laughing his heart out. All along, the blame was split. How could I have missed it? My head was spinning again. It was getting hard to understand what you were saying, much less what you meant by all that. All along, we were beings of conflicting natures, one of self-sabotage and one of self-preservation. So naturally, we clashed, and now we're here. You sighed, catching your breath. Your voice was still trembling from laughter. How wonderful. Do you think it must to be thoughtless, bereft of consciousness and reason? How wonderful to live one's life without conflict and thus without regret. You choked, fighting for air. Were you laughing again? I suppose that must truly be the nature of bad people. Not that they are completely devoid of good intentions and thoughts, but that they have such thoughts and choose to ignore them anyway. Ending, what was that, 7, thoughtless. So our character is a bad person, and maybe we are a killer of some sort, but we're just choosing to ignore, like, oh no, we would never do that to someone and whatnot. That's what I feel like was happening here. Alrighty. Okay, it's now 8 o'clock and we have unlocked all the other endings. From like 8 to 5, I think? Alright, it's the rollback. Again. Again. As many times as it takes. No matter how long, no matter how far. No matter how much I had to suffer. No matter how many times I rolled back. Because I needed to keep going. Are we running? Because I needed to keep running. Because I needed to escape this endless cycle. There, first oak, second bend on the left. So the only way from here was to run? Forward. My shoes were thinning at this point. The soles couldn't take much more on the same rocks, the same twigs, the same scattered debris. Just another one of those things I had to let stick around each time, as obnoxious as it was. If I wasted my energy rolling back every single little detail, I'd be dead by now. It just wasn't worth it. So I settled for letting a few things slip through the cracks, and I didn't have much stamina left as it was. Exhaustion waited at my every step. Oh, leaving me lagging behind. So we're playing as that guy that we got killed by. I'm already 2.5 seconds slower to this landmark. I was running out of time. Third bend, second stop. Only one option. To run. So I kept running. As long as I kept moving, as long as I kept running, I'd make it eventually, right? Even if all I was doing was running in place. My lungs burned. I could not run her forever. I knew that much. I'm not stupid. Her. I didn't have much of a choice anymore. If I got too far from her liking, she'd pull on my reins and drag me all the way back, kicking and screaming. Not this time. This time I'd make it. Whenever this time would actually be. My muscles screamed, my breath sharp, stinging. I bit down to my arm. It kept me going, distracted from the ache. Pain's like an itch that way. If you ignored it, it would only get worse. Scratch it, and you get relief. Next bend, 8th stump. Run. Yeah, that was it. Keep running. Keep running, keep surviving. Make it across the road and... What the? No. No, 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 no. Not again. Not again. Shit. How could I have been so stupid? The road. I had to wait for the car on the road. I could almost hear his voice then, muffled, distant, as he stumbled out of his car towards what was left of my body. And with the blood clogging up my ears, his voice was lost on me. I felt his hand grip my shoulders, trying to shake me awake. Not that it mattered what he said anyway. There was no chance I settled for this ending. Even if my body was broken and bleeding, I'd just roll back and everything would settle into place again. Like it never happened at all. So I willed myself to roll back. Why wasn't it working? Was I doing something wrong? All I needed to do was roll back, all the way until that choice I'd made, the one that had gotten me killed again. Then, I could do it right this time. I could do it better. So I willed myself to roll back. Why wasn't it working? Was I doing something wrong? All I needed to do was roll back and all the way into the choice I made. Then, I could do it right this time. I could do it better. What the heck? Are we stuck like this? Do I keep going? Oh, I'm so confused. Huh? It's not working. Huh. Oh, I can click this option. Was I doing something wrong? Why wasn't it working? Oh, I'm so dumb. Okay. Oh god, what was that? I have no idea what that was. What was that? That didn't happen last time, right? No, it didn't, and it really freaked me out. Just a hitch. Maybe? Then I... What the... Where am I? Oh? I was back here. I definitely hadn't been found, not that quickly. This was a different type of hitch then. Punishment for rolling back too much, I suppose. Bargaining too much within the past, and eventually the past comes to collect. If I had waited, I'd eventually end up where I was supposed to be. But that meant dealing with... her. Even in my own memories, her presence put me on edge. I sat on the edge of my old cot, and her, and on the folding chair across the room. Then, this was one of our sessions together, way back when. Again, number 8, I know I can do better this time. Training sessions, that is. My vision throbbed behind my skull, my nostrils thick with the stench of copper. My nose was bleeding again. I decided not to deviate from the script. I can't, it hurts. My voice was small, so fragile and useless. I sounded like a child and I hated it. I wanted to tear that weakness right out of my throat. I know. I know it hurts. But you need to try again, okay, number 8? Just one more time and then you can rest as long as you like. Really? My blood boiled. Do you promise? I promise. Liar. Liar, liar, liar. Now, one more time, find out what's on the other side of this card. And then roll back and tell me what it is before I show it to you. Do you understand? My nails dug into my arms as she spoke. Yes, baby. Let's hide. The car would be passing by on the side road any second now. If I ran, I'd get hit. So I caught myself on a nearby tree and crouched down into the bush. But I always came to the same unbettable conclusion. I couldn't keep going like this. My legs hurt, my stomach groaned, my eyelids begged for rest. I knew how this worked. I'd seen the movies. The movies I was allowed to watch in any case. I crept towards the side of the road. Oh, I stuck my thumb out just like I remembered. That's why they killed him, because of the movies he's watched. Man, I can't really, I can't blame him. But in the movies, someone always winds up dead by the end of it, right? I didn't know what other choice I had. My scalpel hung heavy against my thigh. The one thing I had been able to take with me, the one thing that had kept me alive. There had to be a better ending to this. There had to be. I wasn't going to give up no matter what it took. So, he flashed headlights and pulled over right alongside me. As soon as he came out of the car, I knew something wasn't right. He was too quick about it, too eager. Oh, that's why he didn't trust him. The door shut just a little too loudly. I just knew. He must have remembered. He remembered and he was angry. He was about to hurt me and kill me and send me back and leave me to rot and then he stepped forward. Close, too close. He was too close. Close enough to grab, close enough to choke, close enough to kill. Close enough to hold and squeeze and sigh and whisper and tell me how much he really didn't mean it. Close enough to... Oop. We had no other choice. My scalpel sank into his side. It gave so easily, like dough parting around my fingers, but it wasn't enough. He pinned me to the ground. My scalpel was still stuck inside him, but this time, it hadn't been fatal. Oh, he's a really big guy. He twisted my arm behind my back. Farther. I heard something snap. Oop. I screamed into the dirt, tears biting at the edges of my eyes as my arm went limp in his grasp. It hurts. Make it stop. Please make it stop. Hissing through my teeth, I squeezed my eyes shut. I had to go back. I had to. Okay, so we had to go back. Shit, just a little further and I'd be free. Oh, there's other. Now he'll pin me to the ground and... Okay. I think we rolled back just enough again, but why? Was I really running that low? She warned me once, said that if I rolled back too much, I'd tear myself apart, but part of me hoped that it was just another one of her lies. In that case, I knew I had to do whatever I could to find my better ending as quickly as possible, no matter the cost. I took a deep breath and waited for the memory to end. No, not this one. Anything but this one. I wasn't trying to hide underneath my cot, but there was no point. She saw everything. I hugged my knees to my chest as the door burst open. I heard her heels when she walked in. 2 sets of boots followed her, security guards. I tried to be quiet. I tried to be still. I tried to be invisible. But it didn't work, of course. I always wound up right back here, right back in this horrible limbo. A cycle that never ends. The guards pulled me out from under the cot by my ankles and slammed me against the wall, my arms pinned. I struggled, I squirmed a bit, and screamed, and kicked. Nothing worked. She stood between them, her eyes boring into mine. I couldn't look away even if I tried. You know why you're in trouble, don't you? Number 8? I bit my tongue to keep myself from answering on impulse. I think you do. I heard that you tried running away last night, number 8. The boys told me that you're quite the troublemaker, that you injured 3 of them when they brought you back home. They say you even roped a civilian into your antics. Oh, apparently you convinced some poor old woman to hide you from us. Oh, that old woman. Is this all true, number 8? I tasted copper again. It's your fault. Oh? You killed her. She was only trying to help and you killed her for it. Is that right? Yeah, you're perfectly aware of what you're capable of, are you not? You know how much I care about you. And you know how far we go to bring you back safely to us. Yet even so, knowing all of this, you still put that woman in harm's way. This woman you believe to be so innocent. Did you ever consider her safety, number 8? Or were you content to use her for your own selfish ends? Stop it. We didn't kill her, number 8. You did. But she cupped my chin, her thumb stroking my cheek. You're not a good person, number 8. You never have been. You're a weapon, a tool, a killer, and nothing more. Don't forget it. It's in your nature. The woman you met knew that. That's why we found chloroform in her coat pocket. I didn't want to hear this anymore. I'm the only one who loves you for what you are, number 8. I didn't want to be here anymore. You know better now than try and leave me again, don't you? No more, no more, no more, no more. Don't you, number 8? No more. What the heck? Breathe. I was out, back to before he left the car. But that was fine. I remembered something important. I remember why I had felt so wrong last time. I focused, trying to collect my thoughts. He was just you. Huh? You came out of the car, right on schedule, but something was still off. That smile of yours, usually it was the first thing I saw. The last two sometimes, but this time, it was nowhere to be found. As much as it put me on edge, seeing you without it somehow felt even worse. Hey, you alright? Where are you headed? Like clockwork, the same words, the same cadence, the same ending. What could I do to make things end differently this time? I was resisting not only what fate had in store for me, not only whatever your intentions were, but in the end, my very own nature. What do you do when you're the one stacking the odds against yourself? You step closer, but I expected this time, not that it helps. My throat closes up when you approach, an involuntary response, survival instincts. Look, you need a ride, right? So round and round it goes. If I'm taking you somewhere, then can you at least give me a direction? Anywhere but here, but I knew I couldn't say that. I couldn't give too much away. I picked at the bike marks on my arm, forcing myself to breathe again. Deep breaths, focus, do better this time. I met your gaze head on and willed my voice to stay even, stable. Stick to the strip. Is there a town nearby? And there was that smile. Almost as soon as the words left my mouth, your expression shifted. I could never get a read on you, no matter how many times I rolled back. Nearby? Not for a while yet, I don't think. I tapped a finger on the side of my palm, trying to be patient. Next it was, but there should be a gas station at the next exit. About a 20-minute drive or so. I sank my teeth into my lip. Only minor deviances so far. Would it be enough? Do you want me to take you there? Which one should we choose? Nod or shake head? Nod, shake head. Let's just say yes. We had to skip the script, right? I nodded. The lump in my throat wouldn't go away no matter how hard I tried to swallow. Please? You returned my nod, ever so slightly, but you were still smiling, always with the smiling. Did you even notice you were doing it? Before I could stop you, your hand made contact with my shoulder. I don't know how you were just touching someone like that. It took any semblance of self-control I had to keep from pushing you away and taking out my scalpel. You patted me twice and turned back towards the car. I watched you closely, making sure you opened the right door. So are we in the back seat? Okay, so the passenger seat was weird. That's why it was so weird to him. Back seat, good. My shoulders relaxed ever so slightly. I didn't like it when you were too friendly, too trusting. It made me nervous. I'd already seen a lifetime's worth of you, but even so, I couldn't risk trusting you back. I had no idea who you really are, after all. You coming? A moment of truth. My scalpel felt cold, pressing against my skin as I climbed inside. The smell wasn't any better this time around, like the bottom of an old ashtray. Hey, my brow furrowed. What? Seatbelt? Oh, right. For some reason, it slipped my mind every single time. Hard to think about road safety when I knew you could send this car hurtling into the next tree at any moment. No seatbelt was going to help me here. Put it on. I'm not moving this car until you do. Whatever. I crossed it over my chest and tugged it into the buckle without another word. One time, back when I still wasn't sure what it was, I had asked you what seatbelts were. Oh. You started asking me a whole lot of questions after that, ones I didn't like too much. It didn't end well. That was about the time I realized that you couldn't know the truth, not even pieces of it. People didn't intend to take it too well when they found ticking time bombs in their cars. Tyranny gnawed at the edges of my mind, a limbo of my own making. Miles passed behind us, the same road, the same trees, the same dark expanse. My nails dug into my arms. It was like torture, waiting to see what this loop would have in store for me. Would we crash? Another threat, maybe? Would we try to turn me into the police? What was it that I had to do to get the right ending this time? How long would it take until I was free? How many times would my nature get the better of me? What was I doing wrong? My eyes stung. You moved. You weren't supposed to do that. You only shifted in your seat like that when you're suspicious of me. I glanced up and the drink was gone. Not right. Not right. Not right. Not right at all. I left that hitch behind ages ago. More trouble than it was worth. So you were supposed to realize that it was empty when you picked it up to take a sip, then go back to driving, like normal. But your cup holder was empty and it wasn't right. Not right at all. Had you realized? Did I get something wrong? Did I make it too obvious? Had I left too many hitches behind? Did you remember everything? Were you just playing along so you can get me back in your car and find the right moment to kill me? Or send me back to her? How much longer? How much longer until I died again? How much longer until they collared me and locked me away for good? How much longer until the windshield shattered into pieces across my chest? How much longer until... Hey. Oh God, you knew. My scalpel was in my hands already. I didn't remember how it got there. Well, he didn't really know. He was just had a bad feeling. Like it all happened again. But he didn't really know. So, I've been needing to ask you, what's got you hitchhiking like this anyway? What are you looking to find in town? Are you taunting me? You had to know already. You had to. He waited for my answer. What was I looking for? A better ending. I'm looking for a better ending. I knew there was still one out there for me. I knew it. All I had to do was find it. Earn it. There was no way that everything I had been through was for nothing. A better ending. Ending to what? Everything. I thumbed the edge of my scalpel. I don't think I catch your meaning. You have no need to. It's none of your business. Heard you snort. It kind of is. You're in my car, you know. I mean, it's not really none of your business, but... You're not planning on doing something dangerous, are you? The blade stung at my flesh. And if I was, I didn't wait for an answer. This path was already a lost cause. You must have figured it out already, but I wouldn't be so careless the next time. Before you realized what I truly was, before you lost control of the wheel, I dropped my scalpel into the back of your seat. And I prepared myself to start again. Ending 8, denial. Is this really the ending that I want? Okay, now it is 9 o'clock. Okay. Now to get ending 8-2. Do I have to start again? It's 9 o'clock now, but... Okay, let's start. I don't want it to end like this. Where was I? Oh, right. I was driving through the mountains that night to visit someone on the other side. A friend. Met him online a couple of months ago. Never saw him in person, though, obviously. That would ruin the surprise, after all. Surprise? Wait, surprise? So you're just going to visit this person spontaneously? You didn't tell that person that you were coming? I tapped my fingers against the steering wheel. This area was definitely rustic. Small town, small people, small problems. He made things easier. I didn't bother messing with the radio any further. It had long since given up the ghost. I ran my thumb over the cross of my neck, thinking, planning. And then I remembered something. Something important. It was something that has never happened before, but it was a memory nonetheless. Funny how that works. Huh? And that's when I saw you. A scrawny thing in dirty clothes on the other side of the road, sticking your thumb out. Someone who needed help. So I decided to stop. I couldn't very well abandon you, could I? But that strange little memory tugged at the back of my head, so I elected to compromise. I flashed my headlights and pulled over for a little further down the road for you. I went straight to the trunk as I got out and grabbed some essentials from my bag. Phone, first aid, that sort of thing. Even if it was nothing, I figured there was no harm in being prepared. What's that saying again? A stop clock is right twice a day or something? I closed the trunk and started heading down in your direction. I got the chance to look at the stars as I walked. Man, why are you walking like that? The sky was gorgeous that night. No light pollution or big ugly buildings to mug things up. I could see the stars the way that the Lord intended. It helped me think. I figured that I could hang around this area for a while once I was done with my visit. The air could do me some good. When I got close enough, I waved you down to get your attention. You seemed nervous. I don't blame you. Hands in my pockets, I approached you with a smile on my face. It just didn't feel right not to have one. Okay, so that's why we were supposed to have a smile. As soon as I saw you, I knew I made the right decision. You were a starry sight, like you had been wandering these woods for days, alone, frightened, desperate. Poor thing, you needed help, badly. Hey, you alright? Where are you headed? No response. You didn't even look me in the eyes. Like you knew something that I didn't. I took a step forward. You didn't even flinch. Take as long as you need, okay? No rush. Just tell me when you're ready. Now that got your attention. You eyed me warily as if looking for something. I wonder what you thought you'd find. You needed a ride, right? Just give me a direction and I can take you there. Still nothing. You look like you were struggling with something. Only God knew what was going on in that head of yours. But I waited patiently, as long as you needed. It's not like I was going much of anywhere. You ran your fingernails up and down your arms as if you were scratching at something. And then, you finally met my gaze. Is there a town nearby? Your voice was parched from thirst. You sounded like you were 2 steps from passing out. No wonder you needed my help. Not for a while yet, unfortunately. I wasn't too keen on the idea of bringing someone who knew my face along with me during my visit. Besides, it wasn't really a lie. The Lord would forgive me. This guy. But there should be a gas station at the next exit, about a 20-minute drive or so. I could take you there if you like. Another pause. Something was really getting to you. Life would be so much easier if people were just open with their problems, easier to help that way. But patience is a virtue. I knew I learned the truth eventually. I always did. Please? So polite. The way you spoke made it sound like you were trying to impress somebody, even though I knew you didn't have a lick of trust in me. Poor thing. My car's over there. You good for a short walk? Another nod. Not much hesitation this time. You're already warming up to me? How cute. Not enough to walk ahead of me, I figured, so I took the lead as we made our way back. I pressed a kiss to my cross when you weren't looking. Yeah, this guy's weird. What's going on? Ah, the stars are still so lovely tonight. I almost got lost in them. The steady sound of your footsteps alongside mine kept me on track. I wonder if you realized how loudly you were breathing. How long until you decided to make the first move? How long until that distrust of yours got the better of you? I was ready to let it happen. I want you to have your moment. Patience, as always. You just made it to the car when you finally jumped me. Pinned up against the door to the driver's seat with your scalpel at my neck. Okay, so we're aware that we're stuck in a loop. Well, that had been your plan anyway. But I remember something that never happened before. And now my fingers close around your trembling wrist as you strain, trying so desperately to drive the blade into my flesh. You were too exhausted to use your full strength, so I watched you struggle in vain. What do you think you're doing? Your teeth ground against each other, so determined to see this through. Is that any way to repay a stranger's kindness? I tightened my grip, my nails digging into bone and fragile skin. You hiss, face scrunched up in pain. It was all a distraction I needed. The side of the car groaned as I slammed your weight into it. My hand was caught in fistfuls of your hair. You hung limply from my grasp like a doll. The scalpel slid out from your fingertips. Your eye twitched where the side of your face had made impact. With a sigh, I tossed you in the back onto the ground. You struggled to sit up. I kept the scalpel under the car. No time for silly things like that anymore. You were still trying to fight, teeth bared, pulling yourself up to your knees. We couldn't have that now, could we? What was that? So I pulled my gun out of my pocket and aimed it right for your head. You froze, eyes wide as ever, like a deer in headlights. Poor thing. You really hadn't expected this at all, had you? That's enough. Sit down. To my surprise, you complied rather quickly. It's like all the fighting you had vanished. All it took was a little tough love, huh? There you go. Feeling better now? Your eyes stayed locked on the end of the barrel. Care to tell me why you decided to stab me in the back? I kept my voice even, gentle. No sense in losing my temper or anything. You swallowed. I could see your lip trembling. You glanced down at the ground beneath the car. Someone was getting ideas. I flicked the side of the gun with my other hand, finger still on the trigger. You jumped at the sound. Eyes up here, buddy. Let's try again, shall we? Why were you trying to kill me? You inhaled sharply. Please. So you finally found that voice of yours. What was that? I gestured with the end of the gun. Your chest rose and fell, shaking like a leaf. Please don't kill me. You sounded like you were about to cry. But that didn't exactly answer my question now, did it? One more time. Think carefully, alright? Come on now, answer the question. Patience is a virtue. But I have so little of it left, I can't exactly help those who refuse to be helped, can I? You didn't hold back this time. The words spilled out of you, ugly and messy and everywhere, like a man at a confessional. I don't know, I was just scared, and Scared? I hummed. So, then, you acted on instinct? You nodded furiously. I couldn't help it, so Shh. You went silent immediately. Just one more question for me. One more and I'll set you free. Your eyes widened. One more, okay? Think carefully. I tilted my head, meeting your eyes. Are you a bad person? You didn't respond. You want to go free, don't you? Answer me then. Are you a bad person? You stammered uselessly. I don't think... No, I don't understand what you're not sure. I think you are. Or... Maybe I think you are? Oh! Why? One quick shot to the thigh, nothing serious, mind you. Just enough to keep you from causing any more trouble. You yelped like a dog and collapsed, clutching your leg to your chest. Poor thing. But it's alright. I forgive you, you know? You sounded like you were trying to say something, but only the smallest whimper escaped your lips. Well, maybe not at that moment, but eventually I will. By the time I join you, all will be forgiven. Because he always forgives. Yeah, this is that type of person I use religion as their, to their benefit. I bent down to get a better look at you now that you were more reasonable. So sharp and scrawny, it was no wonder that the wind didn't knock you over. See, God sent me to take care of people like you, people who threaten the safety of his flock, people who don't bring nothing good into the world and leave all sorts of nasty stuff behind. I brushed your hair out of your eyes, my fingers trailing across the bruise on your cheek. You stared at me with such hatred in those eyes of yours. People like me, too. Give them a taste of their own medicine and whatnot, karma, I think they call it. He spit in my face. I couldn't help but laugh. I know. This all doesn't make sense to you right now, does it? Usually I try not to mix work and personal business. Makes things simpler that way. But even before I saw you flagging me down, I've been seeing things, visions maybe. I saw your eyes widening as I spoke. Things that hadn't happened yet. Things that weren't yet supposed to be. Now, I don't fancy myself as a prophet or nothing, but if the Lord's bending my ear, who am I to ignore him? Man, so all the memories of the rollbacks that have been happening to him, he has those memories, and now he thinks he's some prophet or something. Oh my god, this guy's really high and mighty. And, well, buddy, I wrapped my fist around the lock of your hair and pulled you up to look at me properly. You gone pale as a sheet. I tucked the barrel under your chin and gave you a smile. God wants you dead. Ending 10. Karma. Dang. I don't know if this guy was crazy all along or if it was just the memories of the rollbacks that caused him to be. Maybe he was crazy all along. What am I saying? I'm gonna end. I think there's more endings to this. There's a lot more because I want to see the full story to this to see if there is a way for both of them to get out of this endless loop. So, thank you guys for watching this video. Bye!